This is going to be a short video, and then I've got a 2-hour drive home from dropping my kid off at college here, so I may do my next Galatians teaching after this message. But this is to address a question where they said, okay, we understand what you're saying, but why is the mark of the beast so immediately damnable if it's not a big deal? Oh, it's a big deal. But what's happening is people are taking one piece of the scenario out of context without letting you know all the other events that precede the mark of the beast, which are given to us as a comfort, I believe, to show us that this is not that time. No, and I have a Mark of the Beast Fears playlist, and one of the messages I did is why it won't be tempting for Christians to take the Mark of the Beast. Which probably, it's been a year and a half since I did that message, but it probably covers what I'm about to say. I'm going to say it briefer now, I think. But, you know, the Mark of the Beast is associated with an event that Jesus pointed to and called the abomination of desolation. Paul refers to it as the unveiling of the man of sin, who opposes, he exalts himself above everything that is called God. He opposes God. He blasphemes God in heaven and demands to be worshipped. And his coming is after the working of Satan with all power and lying signs and wonders to deceive those who received not the love of the truth, and God himself delivered them over to strong delusion that they would believe a lie. So this is not a test for Christians who have received the truth. And remember, we said the truth is the testimony of Jesus Christ. Not the truth is, oh, you can identify the major players in the beast system. Those who reject the testimony of Jesus Christ, ultimately, God himself delivers them over to the strong delusion so that they should believe whatever this guy's going to do, whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and lying signs and wonders. And this is an event that is so catastrophic that the whole world will be focused on it, according to Revelation 13. And we're told that, you know, the false prophet is going to make an image of this man that can move and speak and install him in the temple in Jerusalem. And people are going to worship not only the beast, but the dragon. They're going to knowingly be worshiping Satan, who gave power to the beast, gave his authority to the beast. And they'll worship the image. Okay? The mark is associated with that image. They will receive a mark, but it's not just receiving a mark. It's related to the worship of the image, of the beast and the image. And the dragon. Genuine worship. Now remember, Jesus said it's not what comes into the body that defiles it, but what proceeds out of the mouth. Blasphemy and adultery and fornication and wickedness comes out of the heart. So the mark of the beast, the problem with the mark of the beast is not what you receive in your body, it's what comes out of your heart. And what's going to come out of the heart of these people is actual worship to the dragon, Satan himself. Actual worship. Actual worship. Now this will be after 3.5 years of cataclysmic events on the earth, with the 144,000 sealed of the 12 tribes of Israel preaching a unified prophetic gospel of the kingdom. When Jesus said this gospel of the kingdom will be preached throughout all the nations as a witness to me, or before all the nations as a witness to me, and then the end shall come. The end is the abomination of desolation. That is the sign that Jesus told the apostles and the Jews living in Jerusalem at that time and in Judea to look for. The abomination of desolation, when the Antichrist breaks the covenant that he confirms with the many, that also allows for them to continue their sacrifices in Jerusalem. It's when Jerusalem is the capital of the world and there's a false religious system with a temple to Jehovah, supposedly, with an abominable sacrifice, which denies the sufficiency of Christ's blood. But then the Antichrist who confirms that covenant with the many breaks it at the midpoint of the week and sets himself up with his image, sets himself up to be worshipped with his image, and exalts himself above all that is called God. And the false prophet does great signs and wonders and calls fire down from heaven in the sight of the beast, and even causes those to be put to death who don't receive the mark or worship the beast, whose names, it's said, are not written in the Lamb's Book of Life from the foundation of the world. But these people have had warning for 3.5 years in the midst of worldwide travail. The seals have been opened. 1/4 of the population is wiped out by plagues and all the things that accompany those 4 horsemen. Worldwide economic collapse, the judgment of Babylon the Great by fire, whatever that looks like. Global cataclysms, an earthquake that shakes the cities to their foundations, people hiding in the rocks saying, "Rocks, rocks, fall on us. Hide us from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of his wrath has come, and who can abide it?" Okay? And the 144,000 are preaching, and the 2 witnesses in Jerusalem are bearing witness to the testimony of Christ and calling down plagues all over the earth for those 3.5 years before the Antichrist comes, and he's given authority to kill them. And when he does, the whole remaining population of the world that does take the mark actually celebrates like it's Christmas, exchanging gifts because the prophets have been slain in Jerusalem. This is not business as usual. And not only that, but there's an angel that preaches the everlasting gospel to the inhabitants of the earth and pronounces judgment on those who take the mark. So there's all this witness that builds up to it. Plus, the bottomless pit is open, and Abaddon is released with the angel of the bottomless pit with all the locusts. And we believe those are most likely the fallen angels that were held in judgment until the day of judgment that Jude and Peter mention, to be released on the earth, doing all kinds of supernatural signs and wonders, probably, linked to aliens. The church will have been raptured. The Antichrist will be blaspheming the saints in heaven. Okay, all that's going on, along with, finally, the mark. Okay? And then those who receive the mark are those who have been delivered over to strong delusion. Their name is not written in the Lamb's Book of Life. They rejoiced when the prophets in Jerusalem were slain. And they also are the goats who turned a blind eye or even participated in the persecution of the Jewish people and the great slaughter of the Jewish people during that time, and the Christians, the martyrdom of all those beheaded for the testimony of Jesus Christ. And they're marked not only by that, but they will not repent of their murders, their blasphemies, their fornications, their adulteries, and their witchcraft. They are breaking all the commandments in defiance against God and blaspheming God. Now, when it comes down to blaspheming doesn't mean just say GD, using the name of the Lord in vain. No, it means articulating railing, slanderous accusations against God himself, the God of heaven, and against the saints. They're going to be doing that. The religion at that time is going to be openly satanic, an open blasphemy against the God of heaven, knowing who they're blaspheming, and speaking evil things about him and his saints, rejoicing when the prophets are slain, rejoicing when saints are martyred, not giving into the hungry or the needy needy or the poor, of the Lord's brethren, right? Their hearts are going to be full of covetousness and blasphemy, and they're going to be practicing all the sins openly. That'll be the rule of law, so to speak. It'll be like, any post-apocalyptic. This is going to be in a post-apocalyptic world, because the cities are going to be destroyed. They're going to be living to survive, and there's going to be a mob, demonically charged mob of human beings living in absolute depravity, committing all kinds of rape and murder and kidnapping people and doing whatever they have to survive. And that's why it says whoever lives by the sword during that time will die by the sword, and whoever leads into captivity will be led into captivity. Here's the patience of the saints. The saints at that time will not be partaking in the only way that people are surviving that. It's going to be chaos. If you're out in the street and you're a woman, you'll probably be gang raped. I mean, it's, I hate to say it like that, but it's going to be people totally given over to their depravity with no restraint. In contrast to the saints of that time, who are marked in that they have the testimony of Jesus and keep the commandments of God. Now, that doesn't mean that they're under law. What it means is that in contrast to the depravity all around them, the saints are going to shine like luminaries. They're not going to be participating in all this, even to the point of giving up their lives. And no, that's not a work. It's either worship the beast and survive, or worship the Lord and die. And it's no different than, during Nero's time, Christians willingly went to death rather than worship Nero. They knew what they were having to choose between. See, people are giving us the idea that the mark of the beast is the matter of convenience, and, you're just taking the J because you want to keep your job and you're doing it out of fear, and that's just like the mark because you won't be able to buy and sell. No, the mark is not going to be a matter of convenience. In fact, the mark is going to be accompanied with intolerable sufferings. The angel will be telling them, look, if you take this thing, you're going to perish. You're going to be tormented in the presence of the Lamb, and in the presence of his holy angels in brimstone, and the smoke of your torment will never stop. And the prophets, the two witnesses, will be prophesying, as well as the 144,000, and everybody will know. They may not believe the prophets, but the Christians will. There will be no temptation to take this thing. Not only that, but we're told in the book of Revelation that everybody who does receive the mark, the locusts from the abyss come and sting them and have power over them for 5 months, and they will seek death but won't find it. And I really do believe that that is some kind of CRISPR gene edit thing that will, what do I know, but these locust things will be administering some kind of, the promise of the mark will ultimately be the lie. The end of transhumanism is divinization of man, divination, deifying man becoming as God, knowing good and evil. And I believe that in order to survive, people will have to take some kind of, whatever this thing is, their body's going to reject it. And that's why the locusts have to keep visiting them and stinging them. And they'll be seeking death but won't find it. And I believe that whatever this thing is will keep regenerating their body. I know this is a little sci-fi and I could be wrong. I'm not going to be there. But their body is going to break out with boils and all kinds of manifestations of extreme suffering as they attempt to go through whatever transformation the mark of the beast is going to produce. It's not going to be attractive. It's not going to be a matter of convenience. It's not going to be something they're offering down at Walgreens. So if you want to, by the checkout counter where, oh, you want to buy that Twix bar, you're hungry? Oh, just take the mark of the beast. No. You're going to have to surrender your whole being to the dragon and to the beast. And they're presenting it like it's going to be some kind of hive mind thing where everybody is merging into this great consciousness. Whatever. You're becoming part of something that your body's going to try to reject, but it's the only way to survive. And those who are partaking of it are the most evil people that society has ever produced. They're the people that are going to go directly into the lake of fire without even passing the great white throne judgment. They're going to be thrown alive into the lake of fire according to the Bible. So this is not business as usual. What you're looking at today does not in any way bear any kind of resemblance to the time that the Bible describes. That we are not living in a post-apocalyptic wasteland trying to eke out a survival, where we have to kill people, kidnap them, and take their food stores and do all kinds of crazy stuff, along with being deceived by the false prophet and the beast and taking, worshiping him and all of that. And that is never going to be a temptation for people who are sealed with the Holy Spirit of promise. Sorry, I just don't believe it is. I think you can do all kinds of sins as a believer, but worshiping the dragon, and I don't think that it is a fake worship. I believe it really proceeds from their heart. It is an ultimate rejection of the God of the Bible in a hatred for him and a ultimate giving of themselves to the dragon and the beast, really believing that is the way to go, and being full of offense and hatred and blasphemy and murder and from their hearts, and gleefully partaking in the slaughter of the saints and gleefully giving themselves over to worship Antichrist and being willing to be transformed into whatever this thing is. Now, do the things we see on the table today look kind of like that? Yeah, but that's by design. That's where I believe it's a huge psyop. These guys know exactly what they're doing, and they want to trigger the Christians. They're putting things in place that they know the Christians are going to say, wait, I'm not doing that, to marginalize and isolate them. And I'm just telling you, you're free from that. You don't have to play that game. You can if you want, but you're not allowed to lord it over someone else's faith and overturn the gospel to do it. And I see a lot of people doing that. They don't quite realize what they're doing yet. Some of them do, but it's really sad to watch the confusion, And again, I had a sense about this a year ago when I did the videos in this playlist, the Mark of the Beast Fears. I knew this V thing was going to turn into I just didn't realize how crazy it would get. I mean, I knew, but it's like when you see it actually unfolding before you, you're like, wow, people are just caught up in this. This is not the Mark of the Beast. And no, Christians are not going to be tempted to take the Mark of the Beast, and no one's going to take it accidentally. Okay? All right, well, I'll be doing my Galatians study a little later, I think. Talk to you later.